So I've been gone a few days, and I'm catching up on all the news cycle. And as with everything in life, there's always value to be found, right? Right? My name is Rudy, and you're watching Alpha Investments. I apologize, I have not made videos in the last 7 to 10 days. Everything has been on autopilot while I do behind the scenes things and work on other things. And now I'm just back, and this video is actually being filmed probably the day you see it. And last week, those have all been just reserved videos and leftover things and kind of pre-filmed. So today, we may be covering up this fancy oil painting back here with something very important, because apparently a lot of news has dropped while I've been gone, talking about, value boosters. So this was a great moment to share a new piece of art that I acquired. This piece of art was done by a Dr. Mark a long time ago. Some people said he used to take a lot of baths. Some people say he was 30% bath water. So this sheet right here is the world famous post of what are play boosters, okay? And the acknowledgement of Mark Rosewater stating that there are so many products, it created confusion in the market, and it led people feeling indecisive, and it was overall a bad customer experience. So Mark and the Ingenious Clan always talks about never reprinting the reserve list and Magic 30 or Collector's Edition. Fuck, wait, wrong video. They always talked about consolidating the boxes. So we had this big announcement to create play boxes. It was a sly way on the chessboard for Wizards of the Coast to raise the price of per box that's manufactured. Doesn't matter if there's a few packs or not, logistics and things and costs matter. And to phase out the cheap draft boxes, phase out the medium price set boxes, and create what we've all dreamed for, the play boxes. To allow everybody to have a better understanding of what to purchase. So as I sit here in my cloak of Mark in his play boosters, I come to find out that they announced that even though they acknowledged the confusion, and Mark listed the issue number 1, there weren't enough cards. Issue number 2, the colors weren't balanced. Issue number 3, the ratio of rarities would have to shift. Issue number 4, we'd like to have change of how we make the sets. And he discussed over here these problems. And these problems talk about set boosters eclipsed draft booster. It talks about a problem where it causes inventory problems. And then Mark over here in his infinite wisdom talks about it began, the abandonment of the draft booster. So as I sit here and I sleep in my blanket of Mark, I ask myself, maybe he really did make a good choice. And then I wake up to find out a bunch of emails and a bunch of patron messages and a bunch of excitement in the world of the best new product ever announced, since literally somebody took a potato, transformed it into a tater tot, evolved it into a French fry, swirled it into a curly fry, and ladies and gentlemen, eventually discovered the waffle fry. And today, you all are joining me in a special moment, because Wizards of the Coast have announced one of the greatest things since the potato was turned into a waffle, which created a virtual chessboard for us to move pieces around our stomach and our minds. And that is, Wizards of the Coast have announced the Value Booster. Now, just to make sure, we'll put an amazing title on this video, like the Value Booster will save Magic. The Value Booster is the best thing. We'll put some sort of dumbass title so the people who just like to take screenshots and clickbait, we can let them. You got to make sure you feed the trolls on Tuesdays, because remember, Taco Tuesday is only one day a week. You got to feed the trolls, because again, they are your marketing department and they help spread your name. And I don't have a budget, and I don't advertise, and it's just me. So I need the people to kind of take those screenshots and make videos about me. So we must have ridiculous titles and names and things that are uncomfortable in our thumbnails and video titles. How else are we going to get the marketing department to make videos about me? So the Value Booster. Wizards solve the problem of draft, set, collector, commander, theme decks, planeswalker decks, intro decks, and they start merging the products. And then it started working. Wizards of the Coast had an emergency meeting, discussed with themselves, the play boxes are working. There's less choices and it's more consolidated. And they all realized that, well, if this works, we need to create a new problem so that we can one day correct the problem and swing into your bedroom when you're not home. And they need to be the heroes to fix the problem that they must create today. So today, we have a couple of possible outcomes. We have option A. They're creating the value booster as a predatory item that has no real value, as an excuse and a gateway drug and an entry point to on-board, on-ramp. Any other corporate words I got to use, or is that it? Hasbro's very strict on me sometimes. Is that it? Onboard new customers on a feel-good, easy-to-understand wet method. And we got to make it cheap. First one's always free, kids. And, well, this option A is, well, they're making simply put a predatory product to attract older people, family members, parents, grandparents to buy this product for, well, people who are into magic and they just don't know what they're doing. So option A is value boosters is a predatory product that's worth dog shit, has no financial value, and when you input any machine, dollar bills into that machine, it just says thank you very much, and Chris Cox will be known by one more person at the party. And it's just a shit product. Or option B. Fuck, I don't think there is an option B. Are you guys still there? There really is no other option of creating this product. My concern of a product like this is not if, but when it doesn't sell. In distribution, the distributors in the United States are under contract to take percentages of print runs in different contractual agreements. My real concern is a product like this is not going to sell at LGSs. People like me are not going to buy it. So what happens when the day comes when these distributors are forced to take X amount of thousands of boxes of this product? They can't move it. And that's what truly scares me and makes me uncomfortable. Because that means it could lead to circumstances where distributors are going to force us to buy X amount of value boxes to get collector boxes or some play boxes. That's really the true concern of a product like this. The only way a product like this in theory could work is if the price point is extremely low. The problem is that the price point is extremely low. It's not worth the logistics, the pallets, the transporting, the ink, the printer space, the time to create it. You know, so Wizards in 2024 cannot make a new product line, and Hasbro cannot do that and make the price per pack, $1 or $2. Now, if this product was $1.99 or $2 or something, this would be a different conversation. But financially and scalability, you can't produce products at those kind of prices in 2024. A value product by term and by historical records, anytime the term value is used, it's pretty much a low-end product for people who have less resources that tend to be predatory. Because if you walk into a store and you have two options, one's a very flashy, beautiful version, and one is a basic version with many things stripped away. Nobody really wants the basic stripped away version. People are forced. Their hand is forced to choose the stripped away version because of limited resources. Therefore, it starts to tilt into the predatory direction where, the people with limited resources are forced to buy items that they don't want because that's the only choice. There's not really choice. You have the perception of choice, but there really isn't choice. You have the perception of two choices, but in reality, no one's going to buy one choice. Only people who are forced or have limited resources, they have to choose that other option, are going to choose that. So it's kind of, it's like you go to a store and there's an option of a medium or a large French fry or something. In reality, 90, I would say probably almost everyone gets the large fry. The perception of choice of would you like a small, medium, or large soda? I mean, if you line up the cups, when you look at the data, almost nobody buys the medium size. You either just want a sip because you just need to quench your thirst, or you want a lot to take with you for the day. No one is in the middle. It's kind of a false, it's kind of a false, so that you feel like you have more options, but you really don't. It's a very weird psychological thing. And I don't know why a company who's now created the problem of too many draft and set boxes, all these things, after 30 years of Magic success, they start making all these variances, and then they have meetings saying that there's problems. Problem number one, set boxes eclipsed draft boxes. Problem number two, it causes inventory problems with stores. So the company creates the problem, and then the company creates the solution, and then 6 months later, the company has to create a new problem so that we lay the framework for a future solution, right? Isn't it like the thing about in the United States 100 years ago, and Ford and General Motors and Henry Ford, and why do we need? Who's going to buy cars? You can't drive them across the United States. So a lot of car companies a long time ago spent resources in lobbying for the United States government to try to get highways and roadway systems. Because the theory was, well, if we build the roads, people will be under the perception, the optics, the influence that they will need a card because the roads exist. Therefore, making the consumer feels like they need something they previously didn't know they needed because it didn't exist. Right? So, I don't really know why. I don't know what the real reason of value boosters are. After sending some messages and talking to some stores, nobody I know even wants a box of it. It's almost like a meme before it came out. Unless this is strictly a big box item, but then the idea of getting parents or grandparents or ill-informed people to buy it because the price point's cheaper, which was then given to a young individual who plays Magic, which makes them feel disappointed. Again, it's not a good customer experience. I don't know why you would onboard somebody with that kind of opening line. It's like going into a relationship or dating a perfect 10 and going into that relationship and telling them that you're one thing, and then later on they discover you're lying, and the big mansion that you're sitting in is actually an Airbnb, and that exotic car you're driving, well, you don't own it, you rented it for a day. So everything that you've kind of frameworked around who this individual is, try to impress, it's all smoke and mirrors and social media and a bunch of fake photoshopped AI developed backdrops. I don't know why you would do that. It doesn't. So if I can't comprehend it, and I'd like to believe that Wizards of the Coast is not that dumb, and I'd like to believe how much success they've had this year, I would like to believe that there has to be valid, rational explanations for everything. And if there is no valid, rational explanation, which I cannot come up with right now, that means there has to be other puzzle pieces or other variables that I just can't see right now. There has to be something that my brain can't wrap my head around. Same thing in life. When things happen that make no logical sense, clearly there must be motives or there must be data points that you're missing, or something must have occurred that you just don't know. So you're looking at a partially completed scenario that's skewing your perspective. So I don't really know why value boosters are going to exist. It cannot be for the surface answer that everyone is saying, which is it's designed to get grandma to buy stuff when she doesn't know where she's going because she wants the cheapest thing. I would like to believe that that's not the real reason. That's predatory. I'd like to also believe there has to be a true demand for this product. Or is Wizards of the Coast doing with the car business model of 100-something years ago of, well, if we produce it, they will eventually want it. Is that going to be kind of the angle here? I don't really know. I don't really know why when Wizards gets things and Magic is on a positive track, I don't know why the company tends to come up with ideas that seem to slow their success down or set them back or shift the direction of their future. When a company releases a string of products that have been this successful in the last 6 months, you would think they'd want to lean into the direction of their success. Now, I understand the company is always producing and making products way in advance, and I understand the company is already producing products 2-3 years out and working on contracts and IPs, and Marvel and Final Fantasy is all they're focused on, and we are getting excited about products being released that they made 2 years ago. I get that. But at the same time, I don't get, after how we just had this huge, one of the best public posts in the history of Magic the Gathering, I don't understand how we go from this to turning back around and starting to create a bunch of silly products again that are going to, I don't understand. It is so ass backwards. It tells me I'm clearly missing a data point that they must see. Now, like I said, some people may say, well, Rudy, it's an onboarding product to get new players in the game. I don't know if selling watered down products of fancy products, like who's going to say, man, thank God my mom bought me a value booster. What's that one next to it, a play booster? What's that collector one? So here we are, right back to the draft, the set, and the collector. We're right back to the exact same thing we were, and now we're at value, play, collector. The three-tiered stupidity, we're right back to where we were. And these are the moments that just really make you question, how fucking stupid are these people? And then you try to convince yourself that these people must have data that supports the decisions they're making. I would like to believe they're not hiring people based on non-skill set reasoning that can do their jobs. You know, these people making these decisions need to be intelligent and skilled in this field to make these decisions. And I'd like to believe whatever's going on, I'd like to believe they know what they're doing, because that's just the proper way to do things. You want people who are good at what they do. That's really all that matters. You know, you don't want to hire someone who's 130 years old and an alien to do some sort of, basic job that requires, to be a teacher in a school. You need someone who's, like, if you're going to be a teacher, you got to be good at communication and working with people and dealing with a lot of on your feet and quick responses and students and problems and, being very adaptive to your environment. It takes a certain type of individual, people ask me all the time, after 9 years on YouTube, Rudy, how do you make videos without editing? You're like the only channel. There's no jump cuts and chops. And first of all, I'm too lazy to edit. I don't have time to edit. I work all day. I have too many things going on. I'm all over the place. So in order for me to talk to you all, I have to just do it this way. There's just not another choice for it. So that is my attitude of the value booster. I think I'll put a positive title on this video to lure in the dumbasses. But in reality, it may be one of the worst, dumbest things I've seen in modern Magic history. And I would like to believe there's a reason for it, because on the surface, and from my perspective, it just looks like we are right back to the same draft set collector. And now we have value play collector. It's like Mark Rosewater said in his post, why are we doing this? Inventory issues. It would confuse the consumer. There were too many things. And yet they turn around and they make Magic 30. They reprint Collector's Edition after they say they don't. They fix a problem after creating their own problem. It truly remains one of the strangest companies that owns one of the most powerful card game brands in the world. And this company truly is, Wizards of the Coast, one of the most bizarre entities I've ever seen. And it reinforces their level of predictability is very low. And it also reinforces how much risk there can be out there. Because it shows this company, we have no idea what this company is going to do in the future. This company truly is ran by the South Park episode with the twister mat, where you take you take a cock, and you chop its head off, and you put it on the twister mat, and it runs around with its head off until it lands on a random spot. And it feels like at times that is how WotC makes their decisions. It is just a weird, weird thing. And I don't know why. You would think there would have to be more checks and balances in place. We look back at everything when they made, Karlove Manor, when they made, the Magic 30 for 1,070, or depending on your tax rate, for here in Florida, 7.5% tax. So $1,075 shipped for a Magic 30 box. Like, don't they run these through different chains of command and market testing to see if this is a good idea? And moments like this make me think they don't. Moments like this reinforce to me that the company probably does move so quick, have so many compartments and so many things in R&D and manufacturing and design, they don't communicate with each other, and random things just kind of pop out the top and they run with it. And I don't know. I don't know, folks. I truly don't know. Penis.